Professor Walnut, and trees are symbolic of people, and some are nuts. Black walnuts, part 3. When the black walnut sits in its goo of the remainder of the rotten fruit, it soaks it into the shell and it gives it a deeper, richer taste. But if you just rip a green one open and squash it, it'll have a cleaner taste to it, like a more English walnut. I even waited till spring to clean a pile and add a deep woodsy taste. I get them from different trees, of course, for different tastes too. Yeah, wash them off and sample them. Yeah, before it has dried any, it fills the shell totally. As it dries, it shrinks inside the shell. And they say the ones that float in the water are bad, like that one sinks. But if you collect some and they've already started to dry, they'll have air pockets in them and they will float. So crack open the ones that float to see why they're floating, and if it's no big deal, just keep drying them out. You could just have a bunch of bad ones. Adjust the vice grips so you can just barely close them, loosely hold your hand around it, and crack it. They're harder to crack when they're wet. So that's a fresh one compared to one from 3 years ago that I collected and stored. These are both from 3 years ago, but this one has a deeper, richer taste than this cleaner looking one. Hickory nuts will last almost forever, but sometimes if black walnuts are not stored properly, they'll get like a mold around it. You just hold it up to the light, you'll see it. It'll be a fuzziness coming off of it, and it'll taste funny. And sometimes it's only some of them, but yeah, just try to store them in a cool, dry place after they're dried. And with hickory nuts, you want the ones with the thick fruit on it, not the ones with the really thin fruit on it. Hickory nuts are funny. Definitely crack open a sample of these before you collect a whole trees full of them. So here's one properly dried and stored from 3 years ago. Here's one this year from a good tree, and here's one from a bad tree. The whole tree had nuts that looked horrible like that. And sometimes you can't tell till you crack it open. You can taste some of the hickory nuts too, because some are bitter. You don't want any bitter ones. So if you want the health benefits, keep them raw. Yes, they taste better roasted, but maybe that's a snack once in a while. Some nuts should be cooked, like chestnuts or acorns. Acorns, you can cook them for 2 hours and rinse the water a bunch of times, and even start with the sweeter ones. Technically, the nuts should be cracked and rinsed and soaked. You know, even if you rinse them in warm water just once with some vinegar, you got to get off that enzyme inhibitor that stops it from sprouting in the spring. It's like beans or grains. Normally, grains are not the problem. It's our processing of the grains. Well, besides them being hybridized and all that other stuff. Back to the nuts. Technically, the healthiest way to eat nuts or anything is to sprout them. Healthiest thing in the world for your brain is a sprouted black walnut. The fresh, not fully dried ones are best for sprouting. You can keep some in the freezer if you want to sprout them later, but they do take months to sprout. Put them in some dirt after you wash the crap out of them. You can even use clean dirt, like microgreen trays and stuff. Just cover them with dirt. They start growing, they're ready to eat. And of course, save some nuts for the squirrels.